Hello, this is the commentary for Cobra Kai Season 3, Episode 1. I'm a bit short on schedule, but anyway, I'm excited. So if you could get your episode ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Not gonna lie, it's my second attempt at recording it. Oh gosh, I hate second attempts. Okay, so we're starting out with this scene. So you're probably right if you could guess this as a dream sequence, and because that's what my girl's thinking about, because karate's been a big part of his life recently, and I think this also looks like a smaller club, because there's some trophies there, and I think I kind of see it as what else Miguel could have done karate towards if it wasn't for his injury. Wow, how many spinning kicks is that? About 5. It's reminding us of the injury. So yeah, the attack in the school is taken quite seriously, and it's addressing that as well. The 80s comment quite interesting, and then you have Moon continuing to be an anti. Yeah, just trying to I don't think she's against karate, she's against violence, and that's why she was trying to try and get the peace back. 4 hours, that's a long time. Yeah, that's a lot. We all know what Johnny's favourite drink is. Yeah, it looks like Johnny's going to be hard to budge. So Robbie did get away, and he expelled from school. Okay. Oh my god, a 2-week coma. That is insane. So yeah, Johnny was probably trying to give himself some closure, or just feeling. Sometimes when you feel guilty about a situation, you can't help but to carry on listening to it. So yeah, that's why Johnny seems to be annoyed with. Well, what I think is the reason why Johnny's annoyed with the channel switching. Also throwing his phone away, which them two can't really take seriously, but. Oh yeah, that's touched the nerve right there. Yep, so yeah, someone said like Johnny's reverted to his old ways almost, although he's probably in a far worse position. Yeah, pretty much. Because last time he only just lost his job, but now he's lost a whole lot more. Gosh. And yeah, I think that conversation right there is almost something to draw us in whilst getting surprised by Bride Johnny. Quite an interesting change of perspective there. Oh no, he's so drunk he's unable to perform. Oh yeah, but when going about his own ways, just seems to be going about fighting others again, because he has been in jail previous times. Yeah, that we saw from season 1. Okay, 2 weeks, so yeah, some soon to come back to school. Yeah, so yeah, at least Amanda's trying to apologise because she's been more stressed out for obvious reasons, and yeah, but yeah, the leadership's down because whilst it was Cobra Kai that started the fight, the way Miyagi-Do ended it, made Miyagi-Do not a very favoured dojo at the moment. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, no more Stingray for quite some time. Alright, and the school is trying to work out how to trying to find ways to just trying to deal with the problem, and invited all of these parents to try and share perspective, see what else can be done. But there's just a proper split in this debate. Gosh, yeah, the positions really, yeah, they don't really know what to do at the moment. That's yeah. Also, like the way it's shot, it's like more grey and darker in places, which oh my gosh, what kind of affection would that be? Oh yeah, oh okay, yeah, these police at the jail. I thought these were like the school security. Appleby, is that yeah, is Appleby the their stepdad? And there's Johnny trying to make a difference, almost as if he's referring to himself as the bad one. Yeah, that's added the stakes for a bit. Imagine the rest of the series without Miguel. That would be a totally different show. I think Johnny trying to come up with his own dojo, and that would have been, would have taken far longer to climb. Oh, okay. That I take it back. What I said in the last commentary, I thought it healed quicker than it should, but that still looks pretty bad. Yeah, so that is such a reasonable healing after 2 weeks. And so yeah, she's very traumatized by the events. And yeah, just to be extra safe, they're just checking all the students. Oh no. So that's Eli's no longer impressive. And then we have and he's a bit more appealing to others as well. That's nice. Yeah, so just a bit more about the aftermath, not the student's perspective. But even so far, we've saw Daniel and Johnny, so that probably would give a small hint of that hopefully this should be a balance in the cast. Oh yeah, there's Jamiti trying to be cool, but the staff is trying to keep an open mind, and she's back. Although, okay, yeah, she's been holiday for all that time. Okay, yep, and Aisha's gone mainly because the actress apparently was unwell to continue for something, which is a bit of a shame because I quite like Aisha, but at least she does come back temporarily. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So Sam being tied to the LaRusso name, and also someone who was quite in the part of the cause of the fight, because Tori going after her, and and the whole cheetah thing was revealed as well. So yeah, that is a lot of pointing fingers. Yeah, not that she was blamed, but just a lot of aspects being just a lot of aspects. It just mocked in many ways. And there's Daniel trying to make an attempt to find Robbie. He's probably been doing this for a while, and also it wasn't that busy in the first place. There's a good few extras around, but it does look a bit more empty. Why are you going on those kind of sites in the workplace? Anyway, I wonder what kind of useful information. I think that's a way for the cousin to try and get them to hurry up. Although, so this is part of the clue how they find Robbie, because Robbie used one of the cars. A lot of food analogies. $2 weeks once again. That's a Robbie would. So all staff members had that key code. I mentioned the GPS as well. Yeah, and they're keen to find him first because Robbie will be already in deep water if anyone else gets involved. But at least Robbie can get just lighter help from them. Although Robbie's choice is low profile. Yeah, Robbie definitely would have that kind of knowledge way more than Daniel's cousin. What did Oh, okay. I assume Johnny does come to that court case, but I think that just happens in between because Yeah, I don't remember seeing that, but I think you can assume that um, like the charges were extremely light, or the although would they be referring to? Oh yeah, of course, yeah, because he was just massively drunk, so it might provide an excuse. So yeah, I'm not a law person. I'm just make some really better guesses, really. Yep, so we can definitely tell more so that this is inside Miguel's head. It's almost as if Miguel's trying to fight his way out of the coma, and he's getting mixed between his time as an as a successful student versus the attack that got him. What sport is that? Although it looks like they have a sport they all follow, so that adds to the family unit. I wonder if they've been staying at the hospital unless they go back and forward very quickly. I bet them two would have had, the Carmen at least would have had a lot of time off work to keep seeing Miguel. Yeah, God, Johnny still looks. Johnny's trying to work his magic, but it's not working. Yeah, I mean, not only is he visually rough, but yeah, it's like she said, it's the rules. Oh, okay, yeah. So I bet if that was a reception, someone would have seen him quickly take it, unless he did it very quickly or stealthily without anyone looking. Who knows? I wouldn't put your phone up whilst driving, but I suppose if you keep, yeah, just looking for him to get away with that act. So yeah, he's getting close to the GPS, but yeah, now he's found it. Although Robbie could have removed it before moving the car, unless did he suddenly realise, or did Robbie need a place of his own space and time to then remove it without any public interference? Oh, not to mention we're trying to remove that GPS. It would have made noise in the garage. So okay. Anyway, it'll be far harder to find Robbie now without the GPS. Might still be able to track the car through the number plate or something. Or what would that moment where you see through the disguise? Yeah, Johnny already knows that it's not going to work. Oh no, to put it in the bin, it's someone else's property. At least he can still be recovered though. Oh, and that's where he has another idea. Oh gosh, I just went over some of the writing as well. Oh, that is nasty. Yeah, at least that's the way for him. Because if he's, desperate to see Miguel, especially with what the police told him, and not to mention, it's one of the, yeah, it's just something he has, yeah, just really wants to see him because he hasn't seen him in 2 weeks, and Johnny would like to see how Miguel is going, and yeah, he's willing to hurt himself to get to him. So, yeah. Okay, so Daniel thought Robbie could be here, quite a remote place, but obviously Robbie's not there. the... I just got a bit of fast food along the way. It's quite a peaceful place to go for. And yeah, Daniel seems to understand as well. Oh, okay, another... Yeah, I can understand the guilt. And then you're also puts the blame on herself as well. They're very a vast scenario where everyone's taking the blame and everyone has their own little causes that led to Miguel's accident. And this essentially becomes Sam's own arc. Well, the start of it. Because the first season was her just slowly getting back into karate once it's started to become more present. And yeah, the second film, there's the romance stuff, and then yeah, now she's got a proper arc, so to see how that plays out. How on earth did the... I wondered if he did that on purpose to scare them off. Also, how would he... Was that from... I think it was the two blokes he was trying to fight, because that looked like a recent massive bruise as well. Unless it's from something else, who knows. Well, whether he was intended for that bruise as well, he still took the chance whilst there's no stuff around. But yeah, he's gone to see Miguel as well. Yeah, he's progressed rather quickly. Although, a small spoiler, him finally talking to Miguel is what helped, which is part of Miguel waking up. Yeah, and all of this is Johnny's speech right there is almost parallel with this fight. Yeah, that nurse might have been told who the family members were, and yeah, Johnny's he's had his chance to speak. It looks like he can say everything he can say, and yeah, I think he's not frustrated at the nurse, after being told to leave. Yeah, I suppose he's gonna wait to see what happens. Yeah, Daniel doesn't know about what happened with the position of Cobra Kai, so I was gonna remember. Yeah, this is my favourite scene of this episode, if not one of my favourite scenes in all of season 3. Oh, they meet again. But yeah, in 2 weeks, looks like Chris is. Oh, yeah, like, look at the weapons on the wall. Yeah, Daniel's not interested in Chris right now. Yeah, of course, Chris would be wondering about it. And even Kreese is familiar with this line as well. And that's where Kreese is like, hey, is this probably your fault? Oh, yeah, that stung Daniel, but yeah, Daniel's just managed to walk it off. And of course, yeah, Miyagi has beaten Kreese twice, and yeah, Kreese isn't very impressed with those two losses. Yeah, Daniel's taken, of course, Daniel doesn't like to be the aggressor. But yeah, Kreese is already. Oh, okay, so Kreese thinks that Johnny may come back. Well, we'll see about that. And also for Kreese to say that Johnny might assist Kreese in defeating Daniel, like that's an interesting idea. But yeah, fighting into a fight like that. Yep, so instead of running away again, it's going to. Yep, she's going to own it. Yeah. That did make Sam seem a bit bitchy, which I remember people finding a bit annoying, but I think that case I'm alright with, especially if she's having people tittering at her. So yeah, she needs to let her know that she's not going to take the laughter. And I think Daniel does get caught up about Kreese when they're next together. Oh, and yeah, and Robbie's his son, so nice for Daniel to ask Johnny too. And he's had a new haircut as well, so that makes him slightly different. Yeah, there goes. She's just going to walk for it. Also, yeah, Daniel has seen about homeless shelters earlier to find more Robbie. That emphasises more of an effort and more ways of trying to find Robbie. Yeah, it's just an interesting thing to point out. Oh, although I think because of how strong the music sounds, I think that's where you already know that Miguel's now back, and Miguel wins. Oh, was that the same shot as earlier? I'm not sure, because I thought that the kick went away. Oh no! So he died during. Oh, what a shame. Yeah, he was fantastic in season 2. Yeah, let's give another one. Okay. What was I going to say? Yeah, I thought, that it cut away from Miguel's finishing kick, before being reminded of the score and then going back to him, lying down. And then, but next time we see the the attack in full, or the victory in full, to show that Miguel's he's won against his coma. Even it's almost as if his opponent in these dream sequences seem to be represent him fighting against a coma. and yeah, looks like a tricky opponent as well. Because Miguel wins, in the dream because of the ability to kick, which, does become part of, almost like part of Miguel's progression in season 3. And also, not to mention, in one of there was a strange move I spotted earlier where the other opponent, his hook, after swinging it, Miguel catching it, he tended to continue to push himself forward, which I think is a tad weird because unless he's trying to throw his weight further, but yeah, he can't continue pushing that way without because Miguel would have. I'm surprised Miguel didn't act sooner after constantly getting pushed, and also it does symbolise the struggle that Miguel's having in the coma. I just thought it was like a weird mood to pull off. If I could try and find it again. Oh, I think I remember where it is. It's yeah, there you go. Yeah, found it. So the remaining minutes is 8:22, but yeah, he's just continuing to push, and then Miguel decided to counter it minutes later, which I thought that was kind of odd. But other than that, that fight is it was quite well done. I do like it when acrobatics is mixed with karate in that way. And yeah, I think that's some of the only fighting we got alongside, Johnny trying to fight some residents. So yeah, I think this is almost the only episode without fighting other than a dream sequence. So that's a first for its episode. Because even if it's a show that's expected to have action in, it doesn't have to be every episode. It just depends on how you structure it. Sorry. Yeah, apologies again. But also, if you are just watching this episode straight after the season 2 finale, I think it just gave me more breather after fighting, really. And yeah, there's more emphasis on the aftermath of that school fight. Just a very interesting tonal shift as well because it was still an extremely dangerous situation in the school, but from the students' perspective, it was a proper battle, which a lot of the students were crowded around and enjoying it, and some incredibly kind, including Eli. They were very into the fight as well, and then and all of it, that's that history's just happened now, and it's just become like the next big thing, or just this tragic event. And as I think about it, aside of I don't think the school fight's really brought up again once season 3 is done. There might be a couple of hints, and not to mention, it's how many rounds Miguel has won against Robbie and vice versa, or how many times Hannah's won against Tori and vice versa. So I guess it would keep that into account, and not to mention the school fight does further add the rivalry between the two dojos. But yeah, it isn't an event that's thought about as much, and I think a lot of it is moved on anyway because Miguel recovers and the conflict between the dojos change, and the public they would have moved on anyway because this episode takes place after 2 weeks and it was still massively talked about. So because like any significant event would have a lot of just basically the hot topic, sorry, and any hot topic can last a while. So I like the reflection. We can see the aftermath of, there's the school trying to move on, adding security, seeing how everyone involved in the fight is like, whether they are minor characters or, the likes of Sam, who was more at the centre of the conflict, and then how the parents reacted to it, and the Russo's legacy that's been properly dented because of what Robbie did. And yeah, my girl was still in a coma as well. So that's quite a lot explored, and not to mention the news coverage as well. Because sometimes when it comes to news coverage, it can be too snappy, but the way it's edited, it's it's vaguely familiar. I've already watched, I hear the news in the background when my parents want to play it, and see how it's paced out. It's it just gets us up to speed in that, and I didn't think it was 2 weeks later. I thought it was immediate, but with 2 weeks of passed, it just really emphasises the effects that have happened, and with 2 weeks passing by, like any other story, there's a event that's happened before, another start to the story is where just take a place after the significant event. Sorry, I thought I was going to say something interesting, but apparently not. Yeah, not quite. And also just the balances, like I said, but the classic characters are more in the forefront here, so that gives us a sign that there's a bit more balance. And even the background students, like whilst Eli and Dimitri I kind of see as like the main background characters, and then there's the others who have a couple of lines, which which does seem to be the right approach, because in the last season there was as some would say, a bit too much time towards them, but now they've but like I said, everything else is balanced and more organised, and that means there's just more of a focus on certain characters, pretty much like season 1 again, except Kreese is in the mix of all of this as well. But yeah, for Kreese is only in one season as one scene in this episode, and it was I really like it. It's one of those scenes that I've watched a couple of times because I just like the whole on edge aspect about it. And I don't think Daniel and Kreese meet up until the season 3 finale, I don't think, which like the like considering everything that happens in the middle, once again the script is flipped, and instead of Daniel trying to just oh god, it's just too many differences. But in the not fighting versus fighting, up until the finale, which you'll see later on. I love that fight between Chris and Daniel. Just imagine being a fan of these films in the 80s, and you have those two characters finally fight each other years later. Like, that is a dream come true for some fans. And despite possibly the only time where they fight against one another, it's it was I never would have expected it. It's just anyway, that's just looking ahead. And also Johnny's going back to prison again. It's you would have to be careful when writing a character back to the status, almost as if they were, but there's different events that's brought them back to their position, and they seem worse, more just in a far worse position. And whilst last time he kind of had to fight through himself, but this time he has people he cares for, he can focus on, and other people helping him out. So there's a lot more differences between season 1 and season 3 with how Johnny starts out at. And also Aisha's gone, and I forgot the blonde girl's name, her being back, that we'll see how that goes. And you'll probably see a bit more of the school as well. And and with Cobra Kai Studio has thrived a bit, thanks to Kreese. As you'll find out later, Kreese seems to be the most consistent with the taxes and the rent and that. He's whatever earnings Cobra Kai has got. It looks like Kreese has used it in a way to make the dojo a bit more fearsome, which we'll see more of. Not just visually, but how Kreese runs the dojo. And we can imagine that the hospital will still play a role in the story as well, because Miguel's, he's woken up, but there's still far more to go. Especially with a bland on his back like that. And quite a good first step of Sam's arc as well. So she's able to stay within the school and kind of less insecure about her injury, but I think it's like one of those moments where you would think, oh, is the current character finally moved on? But there's no Tori yet, so we'll see how that happens with them two meeting together again. I think that's all I can say. Once again, a good proper start. When looking at all 3 seasons, how they begin, not just those 3, but the rest of them, I think all of them have very good starting points. I think both 1 and 2 have a slightly better starting point than the second. One mainly because there's a bit more weight in the how the first and third season begins, and I would even say maybe tad better than 4 and 5, despite actually no, 5 gets a bit serious again, but probably not as serious as 3, and the 4th season mainly starts as optimistic because season 4 gradually gets worse. That's how season 4 kind of structures itself. But yeah, a really good start to season 3. I'm rewatching this. I'm looking forward to re-experiencing, is that a word? I'm not sure. How the Russos are going to get themselves back up again, what the school will be like, how the hospital will continue playing its role. There's already something between Chris and Daniel that'll be interesting down the line, and Chris decorating this dojo. So it's just grabbing me already. Show's still going strong at the 3rd season. That's a rather good step. It depends what show, how much thrust a show has, with the premise and what it can do with the material, and the showrunners still have plenty to give. So just well done them. I like the showrunners a lot. I would like to watch more interviews of them, just to see more of the thought process on how they made all of this, because it's just quite an achievement. Anyway, we'll stop it right there. I'll leave you a lot alone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hello, welcome to Cobra Kai Season 3, Episode 2. Short on time again. Let's just get watching it. So, episode plays in 3, 2, 1, go. I think this is the episode that has one of my favourite funny bits ever. There's a scene in a car which is hilarious. Oh, okay. Is this the first Kreese flashback? Not to mention I've got some bits and bobs happening in the background, so I might not be as... Well, I think what's good about the conclusion is that I can look back on everything if I missed it. Oh gosh, they're the hard lot of their time. So I think, yeah, it is quite interesting. Well, we're just wondering, why we're back this far at the first place. But for those who guess it's Crease, then good guess it's either that guy or the waiter. Yeah, sorry if you can hear my phone buzzing. So they're like want to be tough enough around school, but it looks like they don't want to be tough enough to face the army. At least he looks like he's a bit more willing. Yeah, I think we would be guessing this is Crease, especially with the following shot. So this is where we're getting more of an idea in how Crease runs the studio. And Hawk is pretty much the main student of this whole dojo, as it seems. Yeah, John must be yeah, I think Johnny has had a bad sleep because of the drunk nights before. Oh, which song is playing? Oh, not sure. Yep, Daniel has fought those guys before, so yeah, makes sense as a potential idea. Oh no, it doesn't go to them first. Okay. Although, who do we see? Was it someone who was named in the trilogy? Not, I don't quite remember. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that coughing wasn't commentary. Yeah, Daniel's definitely on point. Like Johnny's getting distracted, and yeah, Daniel just treats the situation more seriously. And I think because this mission may be finding Robbie suit when Johnny was putting the music on and that. I think that was just probably a way to relax himself and try and oh, is this Robbie? Oh, it's Robbie's mum. Oh, okay. Anyway, what's I saying? Yeah, like Johnny wanted the music on, and it looks like the kind of person gets distracted or would want to get distracted to, something to make him feel better or something to help pass the time. But Daniel's like now, and you have to be 100% focused. That's the impression I got. So she's aware of the rivalry too. I suppose if Robbie knew about it, then I could see why she would. I suppose it's some world building to see a very good performing rehab area. So counting on some history as well. I suppose that fills a gap. Oh, she recognises the people, and it looks like Daniel vaguely remembers. But yeah, so she may have recognised who or remember what Robbie's mates used to look like, but you know how in focus or unfocused she was, which is why she never really got involved. But hopefully the rehab would help. And she does seem to care far more about Robbie in the following seasons, as much as I can remember. Oh yeah, remember this scene? I talked about this briefly in the in one of the episodes in the last commentary. Yeah, I've heard that sometimes giving things a name adds to sentimentality, and yeah, it looks like Bert's getting a bit soft, which I guess that because not only does it go back to Chris wanted to push out those who he sensed weakness in, but I guess it also shows how there might be some that could still be in Johnny's league because of allowing some sentimentality despite being how tough you are. And I wonder how Chris got the snake. Would it be a pet of his already? Did he quickly hire it? Oh, and then to have him fun together earlier, so Hawk's a bit disappointed the bird's gone. Yeah, as much as I like rodents, I wouldn't feel too squeamish, to be honest. I'm not the most squeamish person. I think I would do it if someone forced me to, including him, I suppose. Okay, he's open to suggestions. Oh, okay, so the school fight affected that dojo too. Oh, that's one of his quotes. Yep, Grease is already onto it. Yep, so he's going to make sure, he's making sure the quality of his current fighters are good before adding new additions. So, yeah, it's on point. You can understand the plan and talk about new recruits. Yeah, that definitely a plan along the way. We can see that Tori's going to be one of them. Also, yeah, this is the first time we see her home life, so seeing lunch being taken to her mum, that can suggest all sorts. Yeah, look at the surrounding conditions as well. Yeah, would have been on the news. Yeah, he's definitely one of those blokes who seems to have a bit of an attitude to him, but I guess it does show how how strict this system can be anyway, with pain and that. Oh, careful. Oh, so that explains more of Tori's position. Yep, she does seem to be in trouble. Oh no, that gives him something else to fix. In fact, was that something he was already fixing? Trying to not help him. Them two already not take the situation seriously. Not taking him seriously. Oh yeah, then it already knows how to be assertive. Even before season 4. Always been beaten up by. Yeah, he was already been beaten by them. I don't think that's allowed. He only seems to be more the level-headed one. Guess it helps differentiate the two more. When you thought you remembered certain actions and it turned out not to be the case, I thought the dude had his head slammed on the table, but no, it was just the smacks. Yeah, still resulted in the nosebleed. I think that's what kind of must have confused me. Oh, he's still getting cooked meals, that's nice. Although, yeah, looks like the back injury is still taking effects to him, despite waking up. And yeah, this is the first time we see him awake. I still don't know what sport that player is playing despite subtitles. Yeah, so it looks like the situation could be far more serious, because I think it is like the back of his back and like the back of his head as well. Like I think did something break? Oh wait, no, he was in a neck brace as well, so maybe something did break. Oh yeah, but he's able to sit up at the moment. So yeah, the doctor must have thought that maybe he'll still be able to walk, but not the full activity or the full access to his movement. Yeah, that's my guess. But also, yeah, Johnny's not being very hygienic in Daniel's car. I think how we get this, Johnny goes closer to the car radio because he thinks that's because he's calling them, but no, the car can get out the stereo. I don't. Are they from chips or something? Then so yeah, Daniel's trying to talk about it modestly, just like the basics, and then Johnny goes into more detail, saying we smacked them as well. I remember showing this to my parents, who were just all laughing at this bit. I laughed really hard. Yeah, oh, definitely one of the best jokes, beating the business for information. Although the show is aware that it was wrong of Johnny to smack him around, so yeah, if it's self-aware, and that's the important thing, with other characters recognise it, not to be in the case. Yeah, because I know it's wrong. As for me, all the money she has. Although thankfully, it's not the bloke. Although, yeah, that quick reaction, I like she must think, oh, it's him. What's he doing? So it's basically saying, oh, despite me being smart, I still had the information the easy way. Yeah, it makes sense to have student information like that. And even she recognises it as, well, part of it as her fault as well. Well, she is the main aggressor. And that helps, having someone in common makes, starts creating a bit of a connection between them. That's nice. And her constantly looking on the left like that, Chris already sees what's up, but Grease doesn't look back until later. Okay, yeah, so Grease is talking about, more of his mum. And not to mention, being how far back it was, it wasn't as recognised as it was today. The kind of illness she had. Yep, natural born cobras, as Johnny referred to Aisha once. Yeah, some are more able to fight earlier than others. Oh, she's knocking again. Yeah, so he's really keen to have Tori back because of now he sees the dent. Johnny now recognises what Tori's problem is. Oh yeah, the flashback has a really very different colour grading. Almost looks like an old photo. Sorry. The guy does manage to have some of the mannerisms of creation. I like the way he keeps his head up and stands up quite straight. And also, I think that's where... Oh! Okay, so he's either... Yeah, I don't think he's done any training, but he's just managed to... He's got a couple of interesting tricks along the way. Oh! Oh, wait. Has he done training then? Oh, was it his mum being ill? Did that made him? Did that make him a freak to the others? Is that what it was, or was that something else? I suppose that's something we could find out, unless I've missed something. An interesting thing to share about before continuing the mission. Out of coma. Oh, and Amanda would know because Sam would know. Yeah, because of that happening. Did the pump thing like continue on its own for a bit? Oh, that's yeah, of course, with the number plate. You better quickly get in. Yeah, so this is the first. Is this the first drive in the sea? Also, his food just flew. Ah, okay, so despite being quite a barren-looking area, okay, not as barren as I thought. So they're most likely to get reported, unless it's a more very free country here. I'm not sure. At least the dog got it on. It's better than losing it, trying to find a replacement. I think hope Daniel was hoping just remember the face and then report it. Oh yeah, and also him calling the police as well to pass the information on. I think that's the impression I got. But Johnny just wants to be more deeper in the situation to find answers. Yep, so already have some idea of fighting him, but Johnny's just made the situation worse, and now they had to defend themselves. So yeah, this is pretty much the first time they worked together fighting. So that's a nice beginning part for season 3. Yeah, the more distinct Miyagi-Do moves there. Did I just see one guy just standing there? Oh yeah, there he is. Basically, he's just waiting to see while the others fight first. Or even defenses against crowbars as well. Oh, that's a good smack. At least they can repair the car. Oh, there we go. He's pretty much the big guy. I think he's just pretty much waiting for his turn, which is understandable. You don't want to get too mixed up. Oh. A good, nice one. There they go, and back to the person they found. Yeah, so yeah, that looks like a genuine reaction from the criminal there, or the bloke. Yeah, no, didn't really not knowing. yeah, Johnny was definitely going too far. And Daniel recognises that he had all the, you know, the list of information he actually had. And I feel like that look from Johnny, despite being full of anger and being angry at him, he's probably seeing how far he's going, going too far. And there's Johnny calling up for Daniel as well. And I think it does. Although I think I know where Johnny's going to go, because I think Daniel's going to continue with the quest and Johnny's going to go back to the hospital. Now he heard what happened earlier, but because of what Daniel said, it's just oh, is that new information for Daniel? Oh, I think Robbie went to the rehab place. I could be wrong. Oh, this is one of my favourite scenes as well. Clean or dirty? That's not English. Yeah, so he establishes his position and the other person not having it. You think he can mess about with other people, but no, definitely not Crease. Yeah, and we saw that tool with him from earlier. It's quite a good weapon to improvise with. Because it's a tool that not many would still have. That's a really interesting match coach as well. Yeah, I don't think the guy would have lost his finger because he gives in to Crease's requests. Yeah, because if Crease is a soldier, I think that's where he's able to. I think that's where what we could say he's taking advantage of that position, or maybe he's allowed to do that if someone was being unreasonable. If the way he was being touched, it's still vaguely threatening. Not respecting Greece. So yeah, oh yeah, I don't think Greece would have actually dropped the finger, but yeah, because I think Greece was know that the guy was going to give in anyway, because it's quite the way to go for. Anyway, we're watching this scene. I vaguely remember what happens in the end. I was right about Johnny going to Miguel, after hearing that he woke up. And I think Johnny's going to try and make himself better, by seeing how Miguel is. But as you can see right there, it's just started to turn around. And yeah, Miguel's just seeing how Johnny's advices led into this position. Also, seeing Carmen's reaction earlier, Miguel's really worried about how it's going to end up, possibly never doing karate again. Yeah. Yeah, it's just expanding on that kind of morality where mercy can do good things, but it also show mercy can lead to consequences too. Here, and Miguel's really not seeing Johnny there. Gosh. It's quite a good place to set up for Robbie. Yeah, because I think he must have been hiding away from school and then eventually making it to there. Although, why did he ditch the car? What did that do? And how it was traded as well. Yeah, it looks like those two parents get on. Yeah, I think because they would have, they had a pretty decent chat before Robbie found out that that his mum returned and started to see her ways in the last season. Yeah, I don't think Robbie's going to pay anything. Yeah, despite Miguel. Yeah, Daniel's just trying to show to Robbie that despite what happens, he's still loved by everyone. Even Robbie also sees kicking Miguel as his fault as well. Yeah, what's unfortunate, like as evident in season 5, with Robbie joining Cobra Kai after, they don't really have like the chance to mend anything between one another. But thanks to Robbie moving on with all sorts, that's where Robbie did recognise how good Daniel was and how it did well for the teachings did well for Robbie. Because at this point Robbie's definitely not keen on um, yeah, so that was their friendship. Yeah, because I think it is the right thing to do. Just like keeping one spot, and it's where he can partially be safe as well. Considering what's the outside world is like, and like I said, it's only temporary. So hopefully, Robert can get some help whilst he's in there too. That's evident of season 5 what prison is like. I would like to see what the conversation is like. I think the guy would have been, just a bit nicer by saying, "Oh, don't worry about the rent stuff." I don't think he would have mentioned Grease, because otherwise they would have, Victoria and Grease would have been talking about it. But yeah, now she's back in the dojo, and now they're doing a. And despite only a couple of scenes together, seeing them meet and then just being said to leave her, it's still convincing enough. Although I probably would have liked to see whether they were, yeah, because as something happens to her later on, which affects like a couple of parts later on in the season. I probably would have liked to see how they were like together. At least the performance and some events are there, and it still establishes some history with Grease. But like I said, yeah, it would have been a bit stronger at the end if we knew more about who Grease used to be with. Wow. Yeah. With the repetitive punching, that they were doing, it's not only have we been seeing it in the first Karate Kid film, but it's like one of those methods where you can, see how quicker and stronger you can get with doing double punches like that. So yeah, another rather good episode. It's still it's lifting off well from the previous one, because we see Tori and Robbie's side of things with the school fight, and just come closer. So yeah, seeing their perspectives, despite the small screen time they had, just seeing those perspectives and seeing how they blame themselves as well. That's a rather nice touch. It helps him expand more of the picture of the aftermath, especially involving everyone. And now Robbie's being put in custody. Where he's in a a spot of some sort where things can be sorted out, but prison does have its own dangers too. So how that goes. And the Grease flashbacks as well. Because I think despite a couple of steps, I think when Grease saw the advert, I'm seeing it right now as I watch the episode. Maybe he did get some training before leaving. I think that explains how he was standing up to the bullies earlier, unless the following flashback was actually I think that is set in the same day because of the same clothes. So I think we can assume that Grease has done some training, but I still would have liked to see how he first got trained, because he was then trained by his commander and then another master or sensei rather, who was training both him and Terry, as we saw in season 5. So I would have liked to see that, and what Grease's home life used to be like, and like I said, the relationship earlier. And I think because of everything else going on and how they have had to plan these 10 episodes, because there's definitely no time wasted at all, because the show does seem to use his time really carefully, because I think even this season isn't too there's not really any new faces. It's I don't think there's any new characters introduced. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. We do see someone Okinawan. Oh, I can't say it. Akawana. Oh, the place in Japan. Yeah, we do see those. The cast from Karate Kid 2. Yeah, we do see them, but that's like a side quest which helps tied in the narrative, and it's part of Daniel's own problem with the business as well. So at least that's neat and not too mixed in, because in season 2 there was quite a lot of new people, and especially new kids, which caused a misbalance, and there would have been some questioning how the screen time should have been used. But aside from what say about Grease's flashbacks here, I do. I think from what you can see, just even in this episode alone, it's it is just pretty reasonable. But one thing for sure is that at least we do get to see more of Grease's time at camp, and how he was further trained, and seeing what some of his early army experiences were like, but his first few memories really. That's expanded quite a lot. So despite the fewer scenes, so at least I like them. And also the last few flashbacks in season 3, they're superb. It's like using everything while it's set up, despite some things we could have known beforehand. So this is pretty much the episode about searching for Robbie, and now Robbie's been found, and we can see how Daniel's trying to be just on point, and then you have Johnny because whilst he doesn't really have anything better to do at the moment. He wants to help find Robbie as well, but at the same time he's just doing things to help pass the time, like music and and the snacks. And Daniel's not doing any of that, and Johnny being silly with the call as well, because I don't think he would still be would there still be the hangover effects, like getting to him? Because he does seem a bit, flimsy during fighting. So yeah, he's definitely not in the best state. But yeah, once he hears about Miguel waking up and Daniel, dissing Johnny by saying that Robbie could have failed because of, what, whatever Johnny's passed on to Robbie. It looks like it stung Johnny quite a bit, and now it's even stung more for Johnny now. Miguel's awake and he's not feeling great. So yeah, especially with what the doctor was saying to Carmen, yeah, who knows, what will be happening with Miguel. I think it might be worth mentioning that, for those who have already watched season 3, it's Johnny who does manage to help get Miguel up and running, and Miguel did have a like a special staff member, from the hospital to try and help him out and get his legs working again. But with the way it's but they made the guy like lame, which encourages us to want Johnny to help Miguel, and it turns out in fact there are like some moments which are kind of I definitely like the moment where Johnny takes Miguel to the club, and yeah, Miguel is able to tap his foot. That's something I can see being reasonable, and I can see that happening. But then Johnny does try and push Miguel, and every single time he's struggling to stand or move his feet around. And yeah, it is part of Johnny's character to be a bit more pushy, despite the sentimentality. Just trying to get Miguel strong again. I just wonder how accurate it would be. And I think looking back, and despite the methods being questionable, if they did happen in our world, because Miguel's condition, just builds up slowly, even at a point where the next time Miguel is a proper good fighter, it's at season 4 where he's just at the start of season 4 where he's definitely all good. Because during the finale of season 3, I remember his kicks are struggling to reach the power and speed it should be reaching. Anyway, I think we'll get there when we get to there. I think it's like one of those moments where it's a bit of it's like a bit of a stretch on how like these injuries work, or if Push Miguel would have probably done more damage. But I think that's just like the genre and seeing how it's just some parts like slightly altered and exaggerated at parts. So yeah, I think you get the idea. It's almost like various other media where despite being set in our world, it's just bending a couple of things to to put the story in a certain direction. But even then, like I said, there's still scenes of Johnny trying to make Miguel physically better, which still rather good. And I think all of the scenes are good because they do achieve something. It's just like I said, it's just quite a stretch with some of the methods Johnny tries to do. But anyway, we're not there yet because Miguel's having second thoughts about Johnny, especially with the advice leading to Miguel's injury in the first place. So quite. So that's definitely something that did have to be addressed because they were pleased to see each other, but Johnny's still immensely guilty, and Miguel's just like, oh wait, hang on, it's also you who led me into this injury, and as it's done by Robbie, who's Johnny's son, even that would probably be part of again Miguel's mindset too. And we also see what Tori's life is like in the apartment while her living conditions, so that helps us understand more of her character, and even something we can when watching season 2 again, we can understand more how and why she acts a certain way and does certain actions, like the thieving and that. And So yeah, that's it's one way to improve season 2, and then you have touring crews who have some kind of closer connection with one another, especially as shown about their mums. So yeah, I really like that detail. Yeah, and I also really like the garage fight where Johnny and Daniel, they do work together to fight off goons, but then they fight each other again. Despite how brief it was, yes, I always like seeing new moves to try and perform against one another. And I think Daniel somewhat wins that fight because, if he was intending for Johnny to get out of that fighting mood, then it's worked. And also for Kreese to help Tori as well. That I really like, because I think despite Kreese almost being like the bad guy, which as I said, 1 or 2 didn't really have villains, but now season 3 and onwards kind of has that division now. But for Kreese to help Tori, despite going for a more threatening method to make the rent person around Tori's area, despite the using that tool against his hand, the guy was still being unreasonable, and Kreese still helped her out. So still nice to still have that like balance of morality there. And also, not to mention, there's Johnny's, and as funny as it was, to confront the prisoners, and also cool to see them again. We can definitely understand why they're in prison. Although, to have them, for Johnny to smack the prisoners and then go on a car chase, I think those I think those two is like stretching it, considering you can't really do either of those in real life. But yeah, I guess it just depends on the culture of the area. So it could be me missing information, but I suppose we'll see about that. And yeah, like I said, some really funny moments along the way, because despite it being a stretch of our life, I do like Johnny beating up the guys, and then having the call in the car with Amanda. I just really like the moment between the three of them. Amanda being like, "What? You went to prison? You did the what?" It's I really like that. And and despite Daniel and Johnny being rivals again for for different reasons, so it's good to have different reasons for why they're getting on, only to not get on again. And and also, despite not being policemen, they seem to be smart enough to gather the information. And I think it was like a minor convenience to see Daniel's car at that petrol station, because I think too made that moment stronger. Maybe they could have asked her whereabouts the car was last seen, and then they could search around it, and then once they do, they then pursue it. But it looks like they just managed to come across it during their break. So it's not too bad though, because they partly perform conveniences like that. So yes, nothing major. And also after fighting the garage people, because I wonder if they would have reported their injuries to to Daniel and Johnny, because especially how badly beaten up the guy in yellow was. Maybe they encounter a lot of fights at a point that they don't bother reporting who they end up battling, because they seem threatening. It looks like they're have all sorts of rough activity with other people. So maybe that's why Johnny and Daniel don't get reported for entering their area and then fighting each other. It's just one of those moments of just like wondering why law enforcement isn't around. But I've got to come up with a couple of reasons. So things like that could be worth discussing. And I think that's all I can say. So yeah, this, like I said, I think this is pretty much the, it's pretty, the bigger highlights, or the most significant highlights, is the start of Crease's flashbacks, Tori going back into karate after seeing what her normal status quo is, and then Johnny and Daniel trying to find Robbie, only for succeed in the end. And and also for Crease to let go of the students, with some of those students as well. It's a very interesting moment. Anyway, getting low on time. I can always talk about this episode again if there's anything else, especially what the last episode said. So I think we'll leave it right there. And despite a couple of bits and bobs I've pointed out about the episode, like I said, a couple of stretches, but I think there's enough reason behind it to, I still like the funny moments and what the other scenes it achieves as well. Definitely has a couple of my favourite scenes, especially with Kreese threatening that tax person. I think we'll end it right there. So see you in episode 3. Hello all, welcome to Cobra Kai Season 3, Episode 3. Okay, so the quest for search for Robbie has been done, and Grease is running his dojo. We saw his first flashback. The reason I'm just talking about all of this, I'm just saying this as we get sorted. I was wondering if there was anything I wanted to say, but no, we might as well get on to it, shall we? Okay, I just encountered the beginning. I vaguely remember what it looks like. Alright, so, episode ready in 3, 2, 1, go. Sorry, that was a bit delayed. So I do remember the beginning, so we get to see one of Johnny's mates, how he acts as a priest, and that Johnny comes in, trying to say, hey, it was like this, or in the past, and then and then Johnny gets and also what we was talking about there, I guess that's part of the theme of the whole thing, about forgiveness and that. There you go, and there's Johnny mouthing up. Oh no, he's hitting people again. Oh. Yep. Oh yeah, I've heard of that book. I don't really know what it's about though. But you can have books in prison. That's something to do, I suppose. I think he at this point is almost like top dog, and also territorial at that table. It's nice to have a pack of cards, to help play with someone, or look back on old times. Or you can mess about with cards yourself. It's cool to go through them. But also, Robbie's just saw someone. In fact, that whack on the table, would that have alerted a guard? Because you're not really allowed to sort whatsoever. Oh, instant reject. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at least the cousin's the Quentin has his own tricks up his sleeve. Or is he not? Okay, yeah. Yeah, the poor adverts suffered too. Oh, that's what we're about to find out. All line up from it. Oh. Oh, that's triggered Andrew again. Yeah, he's just pretty much staying back. He doesn't seem to be very pleased with his position. The espresso was worth mentioning. Oh, that'll be expensive. So yeah, that's pretty much the plot of the episode. Actually, it becomes a bit of it's like a miniature storyline that comes and goes. Oh, the next visitor. It's a good start point. So not only is there the cost, but Miguel's yeah, is keeping expectations low. But it sounds trying to be optimistic, a bit like her mum, which is nice. Oh, now Miguel knows about that. Okay. And she owns it. That's a nice detail. Yeah. So from the it's the attack is done not long ago, and yeah, Sam's. Oh, nice card. Guess a good reminder for those who haven't watched season one. But yeah, like from the comment earlier, yeah, Sam just doesn't want any excuses about Tori because Tori attacked her full stop, and yeah, to not listen to any of Miguel's explanations as well. Oh, yeah, and then John gets off because not only was the supermarket fight, but also the school fight too. I'd say something I thought of. If Johnny was low before, I wonder why you didn't see him like before the events of season one, unless he was at a low point at a point where he's closed himself off from everyone, because that could be believable. Because at least Johnny he's had a lot more interaction recently, so I think that's where you thought of him as a good choice, and yeah. And yeah, I think this is Johnny also blaming himself for the fight in the second season as well. Yeah, I think that's what makes, because even if you're not a fan of the school fight, just seeing the aftermath and all of that reflection, it makes it better. Ah, yeah, I remember that plan. So yeah, hopefully, I think Johnny does have a way involving the stepdad, which I also remember. But also for the mate to offer donations as well, that's quite noble. Oh, call him Danny Boy, that's what Terry calls Daniel. See, no wonder he doesn't like Cole. Yeah, definitely not. So yeah, despite a lack of success, they're still keen to keep the business. Yeah, they can always start up again with something, with the money, but no, the dealership is what they've been working on for ages. Of course, they don't want to let it go. Also, for them to catch up with one another, but then the bloke on the left, he has some interesting information. Let's find out what he says again. Okay, it's just learn a bit more about Bez's life. I suppose that's good to know. Oh, there you go. Making sure Cole is preoccupied. Yep, smart move. Oh, okay, so there's way more to Cole's plan. There you go, he's going to pass the information on immediately. Yep. Oh, and even the kids are trying to help Miguel out as well. That's squeezing in some training as well. That's cool. And of course, Moon would be involved because it's helping or helping others. Yeah, this is like September, isn't it? And it still looks summery. I like when September's like that. Body subversion. Might need to close those windows. But yeah, I like that joke. I think even Kristen was probably self-aware. The way he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing the job for you instead." Oh, of course, yeah, it's the Miyagi lot. Yeah, so with Miyagi being, part of the rival and them for Miguel to help instead of them, which, could risk the likes of Miguel going on to Team Miyagi instead. Yeah, no wonder Hulk and that were threatened. But yeah, and Ronnie's going to, yeah, with no Cobra Kai, he does need to find ways to make a living. Oh, he's doing it for them, that's nice. Yeah, definitely important to cover that. There's a list of 3 so far. That's 4. Oh yeah, that's not. Oh no, yeah. It'll be really. Sometimes you can over expand at a point where it like lose the plot, but he could have said it was a self-defense thing. But even then, yeah, that's a long list. Oh, he's gone through all sorts too. Yeah, at least he does come across an idea eventually. Oh, prison has access to the news as well. Okay. Oh, just minorly defending Robbie by saying, that it could be an accident. Oh, managed to look right through him. Yeah, Robbie's definitely not keen on that. Oh, they know about that as well. Oh, oh, okay, yeah, it's just the way the leg counted then, it's enabled him to get more free hits. Oh my god, even that as well. Oh, that's some bruised ribs and even a couple of head injuries. Now he's got load of hits across his back. Oh, I know that's a blow. Oh gosh, that's quite painful. Oh, and going back to him again. Wait, did he say he owns like 3 stores and it goes to each one? Like a mobile phone. Did he say Cobra noun? And then and I think that gets Johnny to think of stepdad. Yeah, like the look of his face. I bet he's like, oh, I really don't want to go there. But at the same time, he's just frustrated that nothing's happened from visiting that store. But yeah, now the information's to them. Always taking advantage. Wow, Cole must be good. Yeah, that's definitely not an option. And I think that's where Daniel like looks back on why he got this store in the first place. Yeah, which also explains more about why he started this car business in the first place. I've watched that happen on EastEnders recently. 4-7-4, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, that same feeling of of getting a new car you wanted to pass on to others. I do remember that as a really nice touch for why he had that business. Oh, she knows the goat too. Yeah, even for original line, it sounds sort of like Miyagi says. Because yeah, like whilst Cole seems to be all about the money and that, Daniel has more of a personal touch, which yeah, they must stick to it. And yeah, Amanda's have been a bit more logical, but there's still another logical option. Yeah, I say because I remember what Daniel does next, but oh, is that how he yeah, because like bringing up like the businesses from okay, so he's looking back on some advice, and yeah, I think that's how he gets the idea. Because yeah, if Tokyo, as mentioned earlier, has these being involved with coal, then I think that's part of um um Daniel having his own sorry, his own idea. Sorry, I just saw what yeah, what did I say instead of idea? Sorry. Anyway, oh, okay, so yeah, for Johnny to because as shown later, Robert gets frustrated that Miguel gets chosen over him, but for this to have, for Johnny to go for Robbie, like do something for him, I think that's what he seems to appreciate. And also, when Robbie lost that pillow earlier, I think that does show that, he's definitely not up for fighting the others there. Oh, and that's what the stepdad does in his spare time. Is that like a business magazine? I wondered if did he watch the news? Unless he just must look through Johnny and find out that he knows. Probably knows nothing about. But yeah, I think so Johnny's making it a bit more Miguel, and yeah, looks like the but yeah, it looks like the stepdad does not want to take part because he's selfish with the wealth and that. Yeah, the stepdad is not taking him seriously at all. He said hashtag wrong again. Is that the last time we see the stepdad? I guess we'll have to wait and see. And that's why he has an idea. I think he goes back to that store again, unless he managed to make money out of it in a certain way. I think I would have grabbed a couple of things, but I think that would have made it a bit more suspicious. Oh yes, so after Miyagi-Do tries their best to help Miguel, now they're going to take the money, so they're helping Miguel instead, so you're then nicking the credit. But this poor lad is he's just getting beaten for it. Oh no, they could have just leave him there, but no, they had to go the extra mile. Yeah, Kreese must be warping their heads loads. Alright, it's back to them. What have they got? So yeah, at least Cole's given them time to think about it. Oh, is this? Oh yeah, Cole's just in the trees. I remember this scene. I didn't realise this scene happened so early. Not very formal, but neither is he. Oh, the digger's up. And Cole already knows he's passes the information. Oh, is he a bit behind on the plan? Not sure. Also for him to come back to Daniel because I think hopefully Daniel should be able to focus on the business again despite the karate stuff. But also just living working with Cole just seems to be one of his worst decisions. But also, yes, I'm just seeing one of her mates beaten up, so yeah, looks like they're going to try and fight back. Making up. Oh, they already know. So he's just respecting their wishes. Yeah, I wonder how much he managed to make. That's the lead surgeon, okay. Which is true, but at least it can mend some of this as well. Yeah, them two haven't really spoke much, but I do really like that moment. She seems to be, because after, well, Carmen is, you know, obviously, well, she was more disappointed with Johnny about what happened to Miguel, but it looks like she's just warmed up to him slightly with what Johnny managed to do. But it looks like the grandma sees, Johnny in a better light, probably doesn't blame Johnny as much. Yeah, it's just, yeah, really nice. And yeah, poor Johnny's missed out on, um, this opportunity to do with Robbie. Yeah, at least the mate came along. I guess he could have tried it out, but if the meeting was meant to be about Johnny, then yeah, Robbie doesn't really have a reason to, stick around, which is a shame. Oh, he's using the sunglasses method to hide his injuries. Yeah, I bet his old glasses broke as well. Oh, okay, so he doesn't act on what I was thinking. Yeah, I forgot a chapter. So he goes to speak with them first. Oh my god, he did travel all that way. Okay, but he's still at Tokyo first before the next place. Um, okay, I'll be brief because I'm a bit tight on time. But yeah, I think this was an episode that helps build up a couple of things for the following events. Because sometimes in a season of a show you have the two episodes which come they carry on from the end of the previous season, and yeah, so a lot at stake and quite action heavy as well. And then you just have this laid back episode which it's just giving the season enough time to cover various bits and bobs, and like I said, building blocks for what's to come as well. Because yeah, so Miguel's mum and grandma, obviously would, you know, I guess they like Johnny Moore, from what he did. That's a massive thing to do for Miguel, and yeah, Miguel is also going to get money from Miyagi-Do, but unfortunately that credit's been stolen, and it's Cobra Kai's now. And oh yeah, also yeah, Sam was thinking about training a lot, but as she said, they're behind. Sorry, on training, because yeah, Cobra Kai must have, yeah, they're a good few weeks ahead. Yeah, a few weeks ahead basically, and yeah, so see how they try and become fighters again. That'll be something we see later on, and we see what Robbie's position in prison is like. He's already making rivals, and he had he's definitely not in the mood for Daniel because he's the reason that he's been in prison in the first place, with thinking that prison was the best place for Robbie. And yeah, Johnny was going to go to Robbie until Miguel's situation got hold of him instead. So yeah, like I said, Johnny's able to mend like three relationships at once, but to miss Johnny, no, sorry, to miss Robbie, yeah, it's still a big cost. And I don't think we see Johnny's mate again. Maybe you can assume that Tommy, no, not Tommy, Johnny's mate, we don't see him talk to Johnny being like, hey, why didn't you miss this meeting? But I think he can assume that, oh, but yeah, he knows about Miguel as well. Yeah, Johnny mentioned that. So yeah, I think Johnny would say, oh, I got sidetracked about this instead, which I think he would have understood. So yeah, no, I can see why we didn't see that. I think that's the last time we see that mate as well. Yeah, because I'm not sure I said earlier, but I do find it interesting how which classic characters are more put on the forefront compared to others. You have the karate like Chris and Terry, who have a lot more going for, with the this whole universe being about karate, and then you have Johnny's mates, and we encounter whoever she was in the third film, and even the girl from the second film, who we see briefly too. So yeah, I guess it just depends how much can be worked with them, but yeah, as far as I can see, yeah, I feel like I've learned more about every character. What I will say is that I guess as a small spoiler for season 5, I would have liked to learn a bit more about about Mike Barnes, but maybe season 6 might expand on that. But I think seeing what kind of position he is now, and also I don't know, a couple of more details about the deal he made with Terry. I think that's enough to get the job done. But like I said, I would have liked to see more, and yeah, we'll get to it when we get there. And here we have Daniel's business at stake, and it looks like he's going to try and find a solution to it. Yeah, because it was nearly in the hands of Cole, only for Daniel to keep looking back, and he's managed to find an answer. And not to mention, they're cousin and getting some information from someone who wasn't ever keen on working with Cole in the first place, as it seems. So yes, he's cool. He's back in the business. I think that's a good stepping stone for how the Lewis's business can get back on track. And oh yes, I can see Miguel and Sam spoke to each other after, since the attack, well before, and yeah, it looks like Robbie's already not the biggest fan of Sam and everyone else helping Miguel, and yeah, so that plants some interesting seeds for later. And yeah, I think something else to address is that the way Sam talks, about Tori, which because it obviously makes sense why she's very closed off, closed-minded about Tori, despite Miguel trying to explain. Because a lot of something I've heard when it comes to people how they react to Sam versus Tori, but with Tori we see more of a backstory and more of a reason for why Tori acts the way she does. Therefore, it makes her more sympathetic to others. But with Sam, aside from getting attacked by the sympathetic character, and also with the way Sam, talks very little of Tori behind her back, that seems to add for why some people that aren't as keen as Sam, well, not just compared to Tori, but just the other characters in general. I just remember watching one video where he was like, "Oh, look how cool these new characters are, just as good as the classics." But then he makes a joke how about Sam's the only not good one, and yeah, I'll see how how the rest of the show turns out, and I can sort of see why. But even then, there's still plenty of references to why Sam acts the way she does, even if she has less of a reason to act, and also because her behavior just is yeah, I think I think what I said it makes sense. You have Tori with the with the more sad backstory and all those other details and more of yeah, so with that, and then for Sam to keep responding to that, yeah, just think very little of Tory. Well, no, sorry, I'm always just sorry, I'm also sorry, just losing my words a bit. And yeah, but yeah, just like I said, yeah, the way Sam's not listening to Miguel at all, which yeah adds to the being closed-minded around Tory. But in season 5, Sam does get to understand Tory more, so yeah, at least it's that. So because yeah, if the showrunners have been hearing things about Sam, from general viewers, it makes you wonder how Sam will look in season 6. So, but I guess we'll find out. But like I said, if those two finally make amends in season 5, hopefully, what people don't like about Sam, hopefully, gets improved, and with Tori no longer, making Sam, act and say all sorts of things. Hopefully, that'll just be, part put aside in that. Anyway, so like I said, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think as it stands, I still like Sam. There's still enough of a reason to, why she does and act certain ways, even if, yeah, I can just, I can see where people are coming from, but by just watching the show alone, it's, yeah, I think it's still fine. But I think that's where we can always discuss more. And I think that's all I can say. I was just talking about other broader subjects alongside what's in this episode. Yeah, there's no. Well, actually, the only action scene was Robbie's jail fight, so having that's the only fight scene, and a fairly short one too. Even the Miyagi-Do student, he was beaten up off screen. But yeah, it's just and I like how the first scene, the mates' speech, ties a lot with the themes in the show, which is quite nice. And also for Johnny to go for him for help, which would have helped along the way. And Johnny tries all sorts of methods to fix anything with Robbie and Miguel, to make, catch up with Robbie, but also trying to find out how to help Miguel financially. I think there's definitely a difference there because since the last exchange, Johnny wants to do something for Miguel, but it's just by leaving money for the hospital and then going. It just implies that I think Johnny would be thinking that Miguel's definitely not up for seeing him, but at least Johnny can perform that action for him, which is like a really good step. But Johnny can at least talk to Robbie, and unfortunately it looks like Miguel's got both of those. Although Miguel doesn't. Well, we get to see his reaction, but as we saw earlier, the grandmother was encouraging Johnny to come along. So yeah, like I said, I like the exchange between those two. Yeah, it's a very probably one of my favourite moments, including the grandmother. And I like how the cousin and his mate, figure out part of figuring out what to do with the information, which I think it's the information, and then on a house way to save his business, and also with Johnny wanting to help Miguel financially, the way he goes through methods like getting his own job and, well, trying that and then trying to go for the stepdad only for, Johnny to get a hold of something from the stepdad, which is definitely warranted. The stepdad was just only thinking of himself, unfortunately. Would have been nice for the stepdad to help Miguel out, but oh well. It's not like what is he doing with his money? Yeah, it's not criticism by the way. It's just go to show what people are like sometimes, which is a real shame. So yeah, definitely yeah. definitely justifying the or miniature ornament robbery. I wonder if the stat devil noticed. Probably if it was like an empty podium, but yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I got to say about this episode. So yeah, more of a laid-back one, but I like what it's setting up. It's doing well with that. And yeah, whatever I said about the broad subjects, like Mike Barnes, how they use the other classic characters, and most people think of Sam. Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing to talk about. So yeah, I'll end it right there. See ya. Hello all, once again. So this is season 3, episode 4 of Cobra Kai, and yeah, I'm short on time again, but yeah, let's get right to it, shall we? Right, so if you have your episode ready, and we'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, the right path. Yeah, that is definitely something that's constantly being explored. What the right path is. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, this is my favorite episode. I think. Yeah, this is where Daniel travels across the islands, and yeah, at this point it looks like he's attempting the plan to. Yeah, is it like a funding thing? Sales. Okay, yeah, I'm not the biggest business person, but yeah, yeah, was it? Yeah, it wasn't a conversion. Was it to borrow? I honestly don't quite remember, but regardless, it's an idea which they felt like they had to refuse, but it's not out of options yet. Yeah. So we had never really had this in the show, the way they're going back and forward. Well, I think it's stopped now, but the way they're going like back and forward in time, just instead of creating that tension of, oh, will he get the meat on or not, it's already setting the tone of, he's already attempted it and it's not quite work out. But yeah, we'll wait to see what happens with him. Oh, best friend ever, that's really nice. Yeah, sorry about the background, by the way, it's my laptop rendering. Oh yeah, and even that pays off later on. And yeah, it looks like he's getting some ideas, both thanks to the staff member, what he sees from there. Although when he later explores, it becomes more of a city, so yeah, maybe it is just showing the more rural sides of Japan, but regardless, it still sets some ideas in him, or sets some ideas in his mind. Okay, so what does he? Oh yes, I remember this. Yeah, this is a very interesting lesson, because he's like, oh, I like that comment. Yeah, that comment from Cruz. But yeah, because all of these students are thinking, oh, they have to actually knock it off, but they're taking it too literally. But Hawk on the other hand just understands that it's more of a shortcut. Yeah, it's a good push, kid. That was. Yeah, and the laughing shows that Hawk's got the right answer. This is where Hawk kind of is, showing that he's, settled and he knows his place. Well, he thinks he knows his place. Yeah, the whole fragile thing. I think that's he talks bits and bobs about that on my how Johnny lost. Even that intense look, and that's where he kind of perceive, well, Chris seeing like Hawk as almost like the top student, but also just that kind of fear just goes to show that Hawk probably still thinking that he still has a long way to go. Yeah, and also just seeing, shh, sorry, I'm sharing a room. You can also see Miguel, seeing Hawk kick, and yeah, he's just already missing that ability to kick. And I feel like at that moment it's probably cheered him up before, but at the moment, not so much. Not when they're still not sure how like if the surgery is paid off or not. Yeah, so at this point, you do really wonder if he's going to fully recover or not. Because yeah, imagine if he didn't, that would completely change what the future looks like. And yeah, not to mention, it's nice to see Johnny, talk a bit more in a more mature manner, and I think it's thanks to spending time with Carmen and that. So yeah, that's definitely some sign of progression, because yeah, he's normally tries to talk like his old self, but to talk more like an adult, yeah, it's just really nice. I like they show some flashbacks. So yeah, it looks like Daniel really hasn't been since. Has it been that long? I suppose Miyagi's always been happy to stay in America. To which, fair enough, they were running the bonsai tree shop at the third one, and yeah, and other things going on in Daniel's life as well, because I bet Daniel would have met Amanda not long after the third film. Yeah, and these flashbacks are, lit well, they're not just, reminders to us or like a catch up with the second film, but it's how Daniel reminisces. And yeah, this is like one of my favourite scenes of the flashbacks being used. Yeah, even from that shot, you can somewhat see that, that the village is definitely not the same as it used to be, because it's quite built behind him, and now it's built even more so. And not to mention, with because sometimes these things happen where when a village or a town completely changes, that's that is definitely that something that can happen. It just depends on the country. So it is it's it's I don't want to keep using the word interesting. I guess like a fascinating idea to go for. What if how the village changed with the times. If it's going to be a place to look back on, and Daniel later on shows a bit of confusion for how it all came to be, and there are some like there is a reason for it, and yeah, we'll get back to that. Anyway, it looks like so yeah, Johnny trying to to say to Robbie, to keep Daniel like away from your thoughts, just go show that Johnny's really keen on getting Robbie for himself, just like an opportunity for him and Robbie to reconnect, because they were doing well at the end of the second season, you know, when they had some nice catch up in the car, only for it to quickly go downhill. But also, you know, trying to make an effort to, you know, see Robbie then as well. Yeah, that is something. Yeah, he's willing to wait around as well and accept the food, to which fair enough. Oh, I'm on canteen to the next. Yeah, that's some transition. I feel like I've noticed the transitions more in this season. Because, yeah, I remember the one with Krish using the device. Why would you call it that? Now that is cool. Looks like it's made up of Minecraft Lego. Yeah, I think from that look, she's like a tad reluctant, but she's like, "Oh, just see what happens." But you know, it actually functions, and yeah, she seems to be quite impressed, which kind of makes start with them too. But yes, it's a cool alternative spin to how Dimitri approaches a science project. 8,000, more than 8,000 pieces? Wow. Oh no, if someone was recording it, I wonder if that would have counted. Still made it, even though it crashed. Oh, 3 weeks. Yeah, I wonder what created the smoke. Do you have another one? Oh, imagine if he like created a spare one that would have helped him. Well, I don't think he has another nearly 9,000 pieces. And that's where oh yeah, this is quite a smart move from Hawk. So knowing that this staff is now around, you know, that's where he's thinking, oh, you know, let's make her more of the aggressor, which yeah, like pretends to be the victim, yeah. Because I think it just goes to show what else you can get from Cobra Kai. You know, could teach you to be a bit more like cunning and manipulative. Because you know, Kreese definitely has the qualities of that, and yeah, it looks like the likes of Hawk is using it. Um, yeah, he's using that to his advantage. Yeah, they're not pleased. They're pretty much like lost around. But yeah, like yeah, Daniel here, he's just so yeah, just seen one of those brands and oh, sold. Yeah, I say when it comes to yeah, like the rebuilding, you would think there's a lot of you know, backlash, but you know, as this lady explains, um, you know, it provided a lot of good qualities. You know, just all the jobs and that. So yeah, it's definitely it would have its like its negatives, but a lot of does seem it looks like the you know, the positives um have won, and yeah, so she's like, you know, like enjoy your time, but yeah, don't really know what to do, but yeah, looks like he's going to encounter a familiar face. I think he was probably watching, you know, as a bit reminiscent, but I think he has started to see that, you know, this dancing's quite familiar. And yeah, even right there, that's where he's like, oh yeah, that is Kimiko. Yeah, so she really does have her own unique dance moves. Yeah, I really like watching them two in the second film. They're definitely some of my favourite moments. I really like Chosen as well, despite its limited screen time. Imagine if they like stayed together in some way as well. Like if like Kimiko like decided to come with Daniel. Well, of course there would be reasons why she would stay, but yeah, just imagine that as an alternative scenario. And even she recognises him. Yeah, neither of them changed an awful lot, to be fair. Yeah. I really like Kimiko, especially in this episode, and not to mention the following episode as well. Yeah, she's like one of those characters who I probably would have liked to see more of, but you have to write characters with purpose, and she does her role well, and what's achieved with her is already fab. With the catching up, what happened in between, how they talk about Miyagi, and how she actually helps. So yeah. Also, yeah, are you allowed to give other people a hand? I suppose that's simple enough. Yeah, that could be quite heavy. That was a month ago. Oh wow. And that's where Johnny just trying to be honest, but yeah, like Robbie thought it was like a problem, but Johnny was he asked to he was asked he was asked, is that how you say it? Oh, I forgot about that. Um, but yeah, he did decide to stay as a way to help get back in Miguel's family's good books. But yeah, now that's happened with Robbie here, it doesn't really he's laughed at, which is a bit of a shame for him. It's almost like Robbie's low point is in this season. He's in prison. But how can he get any lower than that? Oh, and wearing red, which well, not only matches Hawk's hair, but it's like the closest Cobra Kai colour. He uses red, and blue for the Miyagi-Do lot. It's blue's it's natural blue, like Miyagi-Do's has like a like a natural aspect to it. And that's where Samantha has an idea. Yeah, one that's partially clever. Yeah, you can see how that could be disguised as like football aggression, but doesn't really quite go the way you'll see later on. I don't know how long Rena's known that person, but yeah, she definitely would have done that to make Hawk jealous. Yeah, even that's like another jab at Hawk. How he does need to improve himself because like he is, like he thinks he's getting stronger, but it's like pushing everyone away and that. Yeah, because we only saw like his mum once. Like I wondered what Hawk's mum would have thought about this new side of Hawk. Oh yeah, not to mention you need to mix football and karate in this manner. Like yeah, that's some of it's actually quite clever. Especially that you would have to aim the ball really well to do that. Everyone, I think she would have to clarify who, if she kept track of who was attacking. Oh wow, she's been touring. Cool. Oh wow. I see. So we see more what her taste in music is like. The auntie. I vaguely remember her. I need to watch the original quadrilogy again. And yes, I did say quadrilogy because I like parts of the fourth one. It's a bit of a shame that she hasn't really found someone, but she still has a lot of things to keep her going, like the touring and the concerts and per dancing. Oh yeah, imagine getting social media all the way back then. Right, so they've talked about all sorts, which is nice, and now it's going back on track. That's interesting. So yeah, Daniel may have um, yes, yeah, because there's this idea that he may have come all this way for the cars, but at the same time it could like provide him more closure with Yagi, which will help him even more so. A bit like what the barman said earlier. Yeah, it's nice for them to share you know some of the negative experiences they've had recently. Yeah, you could just really tell that they know each other well. Because I think the third film takes place almost immediately after the second one, right? It's like a day later. Oh yeah, we'll just see what that idea is like. Oh, there you go. There's Johnny. He's back to drinking. Yeah, he's missed another opportunity to connect with Robbie. Yeah. It's kind of cool to see these like different bars. I don't really recognise this one, but I could be wrong. Is it in the second film? Oh, I don't know. There wasn't any pool tables. Looks like Reese knows his bars. Maybe Johnny did have a favourite that Reese used to go to. But yes, it's the first time they met in quite some time. But look at the way they choosing a time, and it's just going for a random time. They got something to work out of, but it looks like Chris is going to use his time well. Because I remember this conversation because despite their clash, Chris is going to be like, how about another go joining us? But this time, Johnny's just like, no. Because he's got McGann and Robbie to focus on. Well, that's one reason anyway. And yeah, it is reminding of reminding Johnny about opening Pandora's box, you could say. Yeah, and even if it's like becoming more of this hero versus villain kind of story, unlike the first two films, it still does well with the morality because yeah, you could makes you. Sorry, that's one of my dogs. It makes you wonder. Was Johnny right to let Kreese go, and did Kreese go led actually lead to the failure of the students? What if Kreese continued to stay? Although actually, I think Kreese would have tainted the kids' minds a bit more. But the way he like steps in, it just really create those questions. Oh yeah, and even thinking about getting Miguel back, and all the eye flicker. Then yeah, that's where Chris is like, "Yep, fair enough," and off he goes. Yeah, Johnny's just going to refuse a lot, and okay, just asking him to think at least that's something. But yeah, that's almost like a foreshadowing thing, you know. Miguel does end up getting hurt later on, and yeah, and Johnny really goes all out with them. Also, if this was like a group clashing, I guess maybe with Hawk being the most accurate in the eyes of that staff member, yeah, I think that's why she mainly asked about Hawk's perspective, but maybe they all did like give like some kind of statement, but Hawk's was like the most in line and maybe the most believable. Also, I like how Dimitri was a bit worried about his reputation after he'd been sent to the head's office. Oh yes, is she? No, she isn't the head, is she? Sorry. Oh, this is one of my favourite scenes throughout the entire show. Yeah, and the way they're in like in a more like natural environment, it kind of gives you those Karate Kid 2 vibes back, which oh yeah, was the auntie you know, her and Mr. Miyagi a thing, or was it a different woman that Miyagi liked? Because yeah, Miyagi went all that way, you know, in the second film to see a lady. Was that the auntie then? Oh, once again, I do need to rewatch. But yeah, it's also just really cool to see those letters, you know, all written by Miyagi, and yeah, it's just managing to explore more about him, which and who knows what Daniel has encountered, but we do find out. Yeah, because I think I wondered what Daniel was reacting to before, you know, finding out. A long time. Oh, yeah, because I think he reckoned he did those letters like quite often at one point, but yeah, to like write one last letter, yeah, that is yeah, what a way to culminate all of this, in all of these letters he wrote. And this letter also just showcases what the last, you know, moments of Mr. Miyagi was like, and yeah, it's just, you know, it's the yeah, it just feels very believable. And even that moment, you know, just goes to show that you know, Daniel meant a lot more to Miyagi than we thought. Because at first, you know, you would just see it as like a student-teacher relationship with, you know, a lot of moments of connecting. But you know, as we find out later on, Mr. Miyagi, you know, saw Daniel raise his family. So yeah, it's just all of those layers which makes that connection even stronger. And just so when you just like watch the film, you're like, wow, you know, like how far they've come. No, that is another interesting message. Yeah, about the people, not the signs. You can interpret that kind of philosophy, throughout the trilogy. Well, just throughout the entire season, or probably the films too. Yeah, that's the thing. Because of how well the films and series connect, even with a massive 30-year gap in between. Yeah, you can still. Yeah, I still see it as like one big collective, and in this 30-year gap has a lot of filling in between, even moments that take place before the trilogy, which is extremely cool. It's just yeah, I just still can't believe they've managed to execute just all of that, like applying the right history and that throughout that series. There you go. They're going to go back to the status quo almost. Yeah, and I think because after failing another try with Robbie and wanting Miguel to get better and obviously wanting Miguel more to himself away from Kreese, I can see why Johnny would have thought of becoming more like himself and try and get Miguel into familiar territory. He's done line in there. Sorry, my throat's not great. Ooh, it's got a long way to go. I think the nurse would be quite concerned if Miguel falling out, but I suppose accidents happen. And you really get like that build up of Miguel nearly walking only for that to happen. Oh no. But yeah, the way it gets mocked as well is just further adds to his low point. I wonder how the officer would have answered, because I bet Robbie was like, "Oh, I bet Johnny's come back, hasn't he?" But no, it's Kreese, because I think he gets an idea of if Johnny's going to be that protective of Miguel, then I can get hold of Robbie instead, which a very easy pick considering how Robbie's a bit distant from both Daniel and Johnny. Although how would Kreese know? I suppose he's about Robbie being on the run, and it could have been in newspapers as well. And even if Robbie wasn't distant, I'm sure Kreese would have had his ways. Another interesting philosophy. Oh yeah, and that's where nearly the opposite happens. Oh yeah, even that look right there. I bet she was thinking about Chosen, who's about to appear. Because it's not just about the cars, and it's not just about Miyagi. It looks like she sees it as another opportunity for Daniel to fix other things, and yeah, and there he is. Because we later find out that Kimiko called, got chosen to come all this way. Would this? Oh yeah, it would have been the day after. Yeah, because it's daytime now, and it's nighttime last time. So yeah, I bet she was like, "Oh, Daniel's here. Why not get together?" But yeah, as someone who never watched like the second film, to see who this chosen was, and you get a nice catch up with these flashbacks, and you can kind of think, he's a bit of a threat, and yeah, so who knows how that will go down. But just once again, with all of these characters, regardless of how familiar you are with the, sorry, that's my dogs again, how familiar we are with the original trilogy, whether our knowledge is, well, you just, regardless of how much you know about the trilogy, yeah, like, it's just, yeah, the show is done well to, like, really get us into new characters and to, like, re-familiar ourselves with the old ones, and, get a new generation to get into this whole universe. Yeah, it's done well so far, and it continued to do so, because, both Kimiko and Chosen, I don't know who they are, but I just felt like I had a really good idea who they are, before watching them on film, and yeah, and the show just has their best moments. Sorry, that's my dog's licking me, if you can hear that. So yeah, rather decent episode overall. Um, my favourite part in this episode is definitely Daniel and Kamiko catching up. Yeah, it's just that it helps strengthen the second film, and I think the second film, because I remember it being popular back in the day, but of course with the first one still being the third choice to many. But yeah, I just feel like both this episode and even the following one, it really adds to the second film. It is quite interesting how when when you have characters talk about past events and they just talk about new things, and yeah, it just somehow improves it. And I think it's just because of how the show helps you understand these people, and yeah, you just get in, you get like a good idea of them, and yeah, even though it was they're younger, those qualities still exist, and of course they're still grown, because for instance with Kamiko, when she talked about seeing the cranberries live, yeah, I just felt like yeah, that's definitely something that she's got into as she got older, and yeah, because she likes her art after all, and yeah, go for the cranberries, quite an interesting choice. Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, the right path, the episode, yeah, it is showing yeah, both Johnny and Daniel do have this like their own parallel of solving their own problems, and once again, it is making this season a bit more of a almost like a, like, there's nothing like massive going on at the moment, because when you look at the other seasons, you have the dojo rivalries or incoming tournaments, or even like the build up to the school fight, for instance. But with this one, it's a bit more connected to real life, and I know that Chris running the dojo at the stakes and that, but it just feels more like an grounded approach, which is quite interesting. And just see Johnny and Daniel just try and resolve their own problems, running on various philosophies, whether whether it's tied to karate or not. And to talk more about Johnny, he's making an effort to communicate better as an adult, and even though he's failed another chance with Robbie, it I'm sure he'll try again when it's the right time. Yeah, I think because yeah, Johnny was in a situation which he couldn't quite help, but I think at the same time Robbie just seems to lash out, not know how to control his emotions, and I think that's what also helps Kreese manipulate Robbie at a point where Robbie becomes a Cobra Kai student later on, which is a very interesting twist. Like, like I don't really normally like predicting what kind of places characters end up in, but for Robbie to go into the opposite side in like a season later, that is yeah, that's like quite an interesting transition. I what other word can I use instead of interesting? Um, so yeah, I just felt like this episode kind of embodies the rest of the season quite well, and yeah, I really like approaches like that where after a series of grand events and you just go for one that's a bit more like day-to-day life almost. Yeah, it's really cool. I think that's what the first half is like anyway, because in the second half that's where Grease decides to act a bit more in a antagonistic manner, and all the dojos get into a bit more action and they do clash again. So there is that kind of build up, but it is definitely needed because the school fight was such a big thing and it needed a lot to look back on. Whilst also like planting some seeds for the fourth season, because the fourth season is just one massive extravaganza in terms just a whole heap of things going on. And gosh, I can't wait to get there already. Yeah, the fourth season's probably my favourite. Um, yeah. And there's other tidbits as well, just seeing more of the prison system, just seeing how the prisoners seem to, with the catering and the food providing. You also see more of the school, especially with the football and even, science projects, including Dimitri's pretty cool Lego structure. And also seeing how the village Daniel visits, what that's like now. And despite not a lot of time there, you can kind of see how it's shares a lot of the same theming, but it's a lot more modern, and yeah, it's something that you can definitely believe happened. And yeah, I like how the flashbacks was, when Daniel was reminiscing it, they're used quite well. Even when Chosen comes up, you can just think of all the times Chosen has been antagonist antagonistic, yes, towards Chosen, because yeah, I just remember Chosen being unhinged from the off, because first time they meet, at first you're like, oh, nice to meet you, but then Chosen like starts squeezing Daniel's hand as they handshake. It just goes to show that Chosen was already like that from the off. But both the film and even the season does catch you up for why Chosen acted in that way from the get-go, especially when first meeting Daniel, because he could have chose to get on like how Daniel would have, but then the rest of the film happened, and so yeah, that's what's happening with him too. And yeah, see Crease, just more about how he teaches, especially with shortcuts, and how Hawk has started to build up more of his sinister side of himself, and how Crease was trying to get hold of Miguel, but after probably failing that, it's going to go for Robbie instead. So he's definitely keen on expanding his dojo, which yeah, definitely is a part of the season. And yeah, and also just see more of the school conflict, continuing to brew, and now the staff seems to be more well, you just like Cobra Kai seem to win that side of that conflict as well, which does frustrate some. And yeah, and that kind of frustration that she has at the end, you could probably guess that would lead to something later on. So yeah, Daniel's met Chosen, Sam's in that position, and Johnny's trying to get Miguel back on his feet. So yeah, just once again, another further cliffhanger. It's still continuing that momentum rather well as always. So, oh yeah, I guess one more thing, it's making a start with Dimitri, and I forgot who the blonde girl is called, but it's a nice first step, to get his project in my head. It's kind of cool. So yeah, I think that's all I can say about this episode. Definitely one of my favourites. Yeah, we'll start right there because I'm vote certain. So yeah, yeah, I'll see you whenever. Hello, welcome to the commentary for season 3, episode 5 of Cobra Kai. Okay, I do remember parts of this episode where it's very exciting. Anyway, bit of Titan time again, so if you go get your episode ready. Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So it's called Miyagi Do, so yeah, definitely a Miyagi themed episode, so yeah, that will definitely play in with what the episode does. Oh yeah, this is the scene from Karate Kid 2. I remember how the fight ends, which this scene doesn't show. But it does tie to like small parallel later on. Yeah. I've been looking back on it. This is quite a big quite a big flashback. I think it has been cropped down to help with the pacing and that, because although thanks to this flashback, it helps catch up. For those who haven't seen the this film, and also reestablishes Chosen is when they last met. There's also that which I think comes into later. Oh yeah, on the left that is Chosen's, was it his uncle or his dad? I kind of forgot his name. Oh yeah, also yeah, the fight was cut down because even Daniel tries to have a go with the crane kick, but Chosen manages to deflect that. So yeah, okay, at least it's chopped, because otherwise people will be like, I might as well watch the last few minutes of this of that film. But like I said, at least it's chopped. And yeah, we're back to the present. They've met for the first time in ages. So yeah, we have no idea what's gonna happen. They talk to each other again because he likes her as well. Kimiko, is that his name? Her name rather. Oh, right from the off. Yeah. I do remember sometimes after losing to a fight with someone, it gives you the respect to them, as in the defeated paying respect to the winner, which is a thing that happens occasionally in this series. Not to mention, there's one more example I can remember, which we'll see later on. Okay, so we'll just see what Miguel's current routine is. He's out of hospital, which is good. Yeah, they're just currently talking about, a couple of trying to be helpful. Yeah, Johnny's a bit, of course, Johnny's being impatient again. He doesn't like all of this slow moving nonsense. And I think Carmen's a nerf as well, so of course she would be more on the side with the bloke who's trying to help Miguel. Okay, he's trying to see his ways a bit, but I think he does have other ideas. There's a tournament. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So this is how Johnny won his first tournament. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So his first victory was 82, wasn't it? But oh wow. Okay. So how does that backstory come into play. Yeah, despite first meeting, Grease Muna does seem to try and provide Robbie some respect. Pretty much just trying to get hold of him whilst Johnny's out of the picture. Yeah, Robbie's not having none of it. He's a very independent bloke. Ooh. Okay, yeah, that makes sense with later on. And oh yeah, them two are getting on better. That's nice. Anyway, yeah. So Chris is giving Thingy a tip, Robbie a tip. So we'll see how that plays out. Also, Amanda just seeing all of this. Yeah, she still isn't into the whole karate thing. Oh, he's changed. Okay, so she's been updating Amanda about Samantha's behaviour. Even the mum knows that the son's speaking more than he should. Yeah, because that's what it could be on the surface, but yeah, as Sam says, yeah, it's just a bit more complicated. If anything, Sam will just say, "Oh, it's me and Tori," but nah, it's far more factored into it. Jason's like extremely antagonistic. Well, at first anyway. Okay, that explains how he got here. Yeah, which is in line with what he thinks of Johnny. Yeah, which he kind of subtext his hit there. The way he just wants the table. Yeah, God, he's like the most strict person ever. Well, at this point, anyway. Yeah, so those two have made up as well, which is nice. That does bring up a thought I just had for season 5, with how Chosen, with how Chosen react, how it is around with her. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, those two are left alone, so yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, Miguel like chuckles because he's like, yeah, I don't want to be, going through all the therapy stuff, and because it's a bit risky at this point. Johnny could be pushing him a bit, but I suppose that's Johnny for you. Oh yeah, Miguel's that's a fairly good start, but God, he might hurt his back. Falling like that. Will that be the PS5 at the time? But anyway, yeah, look, Miguel's already on the verge of giving up. Yeah, Kamiko said going out and about in town. Does that mean? I guess is this part of the town? Oh, this is the rest of it. Oh, okay, that's nice. Karate's birthplace. Wow, that is. Oh my gosh! Wow. I've got another flashback there too. Wow, that is quite an interesting piece of history there. They both know this history, and yeah, them two are already bonding a bit, which is nice. Because I remember how they first meet. Dan's trying to be nice with a handshake, and Chosen's already doing more than a hard squeeze against his hand, which means, yeah, I'm not going to play nice around you. So, yeah, it was an interesting way to start things off. Yeah, I do remember what happened there because it's all my favourite stuff in season 3. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, so what is he looking at? Oh, those are Miyagi's ancestors, right? Oh yeah, we'd like to find out they're chosen teachers as well, which is rather neat. And it plays into a bit in season 5. Oh, Sato, yeah, I remember his name. Wow. Sorry. Oh, okay, so he's getting a bit possessive and. Oh, okay, now he's yeah, that's where they're gonna get fighting. That's cool. Oh well, prison has access to the internet. Or Valley Lead Win. Okay, that must be referring to the 1983. Oh yeah, 1983. Yeah, I think I just saw it. And then the following year, yeah, that happens. Of course, yeah, these dojo things seem to happen. Well, no, the tournament things it happens on it appears on the news. We can see the emails she's been getting as well. Definitely the kind. Oh, yeah, Sam sent him emails too. But of course, he's got on the way now. Oh, what's his reason? Yeah, I think the guy on the right, I forgot his name, but I think he's just trying to make himself like top dog really. And after, I think when you like fight against each other as well, you do end up being antagonistic against one another. Also, I just wanted to expand earlier about Daniel's, just trying to make himself trustworthy with with this karate, and he's trying to say to Chosen, oh, Miyagi, would trust me with these aspects, and yeah, and that we'll see later on more so. Also, yeah, we've seen the Cobra Kai a lot. See what they're up to. So that's where he works. He's surrounded by toys. Although, oh no. Yeah, that's probably one too many gifts, I reckon. Still a lot of tickets, even if they're stolen, but yeah. Oh, that's where Chris, it's like, oh, they've striked us, let's, oh no, okay, it's just simply updating Sam, but I think that's where Sam has the idea. Yeah, did you gather the others as well? Oh yeah, that's where Johnny saves, not saves, he has some history knowledge of his own. Yeah, it's for someone, Johnny has shown a couple of times that he's not like keen on history, but to talk about something that used to happen in Asia, which I guess that could link him and Daniel together, but it's just like different reasons. Also, I wonder how Johnny knew about it. Did he research it? Was he told about it when he was younger? Yeah, I'll have to think more about that. Alright, so the next test. uh, other body parts have their own, what an image to think of. But yeah, despite being a different method, it still doesn't work. Hopefully, it hasn't got any like first degree burns or anything. Burns. Oh, that's what I said. Mm. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Yeah, thank you, Chosen. You said it for me. Even at this point, you can see that Chosen is he has like other tricks up his sleeve. Ah, so yeah, yeah. And also Miyagi. I think that's what you'll find out later on. Miyagi. I think Miyagi would have still taught Daniel all sorts, but just only like certain aspects, especially not teach Daniel the ways of aggression. As shown earlier. Yeah, Miyagi managed to train Chosen like every now and again somewhere. Yeah, I wonder how that fits in the timeline. Yeah, I wonder if Miyagi thought that them two would get on, and that's where Daniel could learn more. Although maybe Daniel didn't need it, but now other troubles around. Yeah, looks like Daniel's in great need of it. Yeah, because Chosen doesn't really know about what's happening in the with Cobra Kai and all of that. It could probably guess because it's season 5 Chosen and it comes along to help Daniel. So yeah, is that too much of an interference? Not sure. But regardless, it is just them two catching up. Yeah, I think those pressure points are like genuine, aren't they? And also after seeing the weapon in the ground, that's where some people are like, oh no, is he going to act on some defense? Act on no, sorry, is he going to try and take Daniel's life, as revenge? But no, it's fine. Yeah, looks like look. Oh yeah, Chosen was putting on an act all this time. Yeah, so that's how he really is. Well, yeah, at this point. Yeah, because Daniel will only use like despite using it a couple of other times, he does use it in one instance where he is at risk of dying, which is how that's where this becomes in handy. So yeah. Johnny's trying to brainstorm. Oh yeah, I wonder when the last time he went on the laptop. Also, sorry if I sound a bit louder. I'm just leaning forward more. So tired. Oh yeah, did he remember how to plug it in? How to make legs work again? Okay, so he's just trying to get some ideas. Although, I suppose you'll go back to that later. Oh no, I thought it was that being on set. Yeah, because after all this time, and I presume it'll be like more than a day after the surgery and still no progress. Yeah, even if it takes time, we just don't know what the surgery result's going to be like. Hmm. Yeah, it's almost like going back to the status quo when in season one, where both Miguel and Johnny are quite closed off from everyone else. So yeah, it just makes this this storyline a bit more self-contained. It does connect with the others though, which is nice because it just means Miguel and Johnny get to build their more time together, which this season does take advantage of that. Oops. I don't mind room temperature, but most people like it cool. Wait, how do they have access to the lights? Oh, would Chris know? Does that mean he varies job in the workplace? Varies positions in that workplace? Also, a bit funny for Hawk to use toys as practice. I suppose they have nothing better to do. But now, Robbie is taking on some Grease's advice, and oh, yeah, that's a scissors kick he started it as. Oh, that is nasty. Oh yeah, they're paralleling. Paralleling? No, that's not a word. We're just putting both those fights together, so you're just a bit more yeah. I suppose it could be a type of parallel where oh yeah, because I think in the end Cobra Kai wins, and it helps Robbie here, and it's how um Sam and her team loses. Oh god, like against the wall as well. I remember people saying that the best stunt performers are um, Robbie's actor and Eli's actor. I forgot the actors' names, but I can see that. But I just feel like everyone, does the fighting really well. Even Kreese, despite his age. Oh, okay, just managed to. Oh, okay. They want. I want to the I want to lie down whilst they get hold of the fighting people in the prison. That's an interesting system. All right, so yeah, Robbie's currently restrained, and despite Chris and his mate, fighting, and we got over parallels. Eli and Dimitri about to fight one another again, and Sam's Tori being there is really frightening her. Yeah, I wondered how Tori and the others came about, but you can assume that one of them just said, I could do a lot of that. We could do some backup. So that's something that's around. Oh no, Dimitri's lost already. Oh, that look of Robbie. How did oh no. Oh gosh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, is he oh yeah, he's like going from smiling with his mates to a couple of those eye twitches. Yeah, I think a part of him regrets it, but it's just what he's been surrounded by, which makes him, as sinister as he is at this point. And as we find out later, yeah, Sam does feel bad that he was unable to help, but she was unable to help Dimitri and Chris in that. Yeah, to talk about Miyagi again, and then getting on. Yeah, and this is also a nice moment, because how did Chosen feel after all of this time, and now we got the answer. Because at the end of the second film, he was just ever so neglected, which drove him to wanting to kill Daniel and Kamiko. There you go, another rivalry fixed. It's took that one time, and yet it takes Daniel and Johnny like 5 times. Yeah, and that's where Jason has students. Unless he does like adult classes. Although he goes to America in season 5. So does someone else uh, um like fill for him? Like another teacher as part of his classes somehow. Okay, and after Daniel proving his worth, just seeing how good he is with with the old and new techniques. Here he's earned the scroll. I think Chosen was already going to give Daniel it because the act he was putting on, but yeah, Daniel still earned it. Oh yeah, I remember this scene. Oh yeah, I think this is basically like if summarising this subplot is where Miguel finally makes a good step in his recovery. So yeah, we have no idea where Smart way to go through. Yeah, looks like that bloke has some sympathy. And this is Twisted sister, isn't it? Or it's at least the front man from that band, isn't it? Unless I've... I guess we would wonder who Johnny likes the most in terms of rock, but yeah, looks like he's on top of Johnny's list. Of course, yeah, because because it surprisingly works later on, but as John says here, instead of doing something out of to try and fix a problem by forgetting about it, it allows that time. Yeah, what I also find interesting is that Amanda at first is like, oh, has this happened again? But yeah, now it looks like it's another level, and yeah, because it just sounds just as bad as the high school fight, and I think Amanda tries to understand what Samantha was trying to do there. Right, and then to have a bit of respect. Yeah, sometimes by making yourself like their bigger opponent, then yeah, that is quite interesting. But now that's happened, Robbie's going to be a bit more, keen on Crease. Oh yeah. So yeah, that gives Johnny an idea. Oh wow, wait, how did he get that news? Was it because of the was it like the earpiece? Was the security guard say something quickly in between performances? Look at me go. Yeah, I recognise that song. Yeah, it's nice seeing Johnny also experience something in rock as well. Also, and Miguel too, because because all this time they've been talking about rock, but to see someone in the concert, it's fab. And yeah, he has some progress. Oh, there you go. Yeah, they're proper buddies again. Oh, there you go, they met each other, and Daniel's going to update her on how Joe's and Tim have got on, and yeah, it's gone pretty well for them. And you find out who she is. Yeah, what did I just say? Sorry, I forgot what I said. But yeah, I do remember this scene. Yeah, that was quite a feat. But also get her back hold of her as well. Like, wow. Yeah, I think they would have spent maybe some time together on the island, like a couple of interactions. Oh. Wow, what a position! But yeah, all this time Daniel needed a yes, when talking to Amanda earlier. But yeah, now he has and something else, and he pretty much needed to go through Chosen in some way um, to get that. There we go. You would think, would we need a scene of Daniel's business fixing, but now he finally has that answer. That I think is enough to get the impression of, as a viewer. And also, I think it would be night time, or at least getting darker, considering Japan's daylight. Or it's the first time they've met. And now Amanda's just reducing that to like bullying going seriously wrong. And that's where Kreese works it out. Oh god, it's so tense. So this is pretty much the first time she's got involved. Yeah, because oh yeah, I like this scene as well. There you go, yeah, comments are so happy now. It's just yeah, still fighting his own battles. Yeah, still fitting in with that karate theme. Yeah, that's where Carmen's warming up to Johnny again. Like there was a nice exchange earlier, but now the girl's recovering. Oh yeah, Johnny did the trick again. But yeah, Carmen and Johnny can get on more. So, all right, so he's back on Facebook. But yeah, I don't think he's been on his laptop for ages. Yeah, we can see why. And he's caught up from the end of season 2. Yeah, nice to see. There we go, because none of us, well, a majority of us wouldn't have known what Ali looks like now, but yeah, but Johnny's just quite surprised there because he hasn't seen her in ages. The actress was in the Boys, the show, wasn't she? Yeah, I think so. Also, just like before the summary, just going back to between Amanda and Kreese, really cool for her to try and stand up to him, despite a little bit of fish that she had on her face, and then to smack Kreese as well, because normally in scenes it could like make the victim of the slap look pathetic, but from the look of the Kreese later on, he pretty much takes it, and not to mention he kind of has an idea for what to do about it. But yeah, Amanda's part of this karate fight now, even though she doesn't know any karate at all, and I think Amanda could see that it's just almost going to be never ending, and if Samantha was just trying to show that they couldn't get bullied, which means that all of that is continued because of Cobra Kai, I think that's why Amanda's sharing a bit of a similar mindset to Daniel, because Daniel was a victim of getting bullied, and now it's Samantha and Dimitri, someone who Amanda may have encountered a couple of times, just getting hurt as well. So Daniel is partially right about these kids being in danger. And and Kreese also said the line, you could say, just admiring Amanda's confidence, but it just looks like Amanda found it a bit too belittling, which it kind of is. But yeah, wow. This could be my favourite episode of season 3. I'll have to see what the finale looks like, but I'm going to be really stuck. I'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, fantastic episode, and this is pretty much the midpoint episode. So yeah, a lot of things have starting to switch about. There's Robbie, who's gone from being on the run and defenseless to them owning himself, in the prison and getting respect from a recent rival of his. Miguel's in his first steps of recovery. Amanda's going to be more involved in karate. Daniel's business is going to be fine. This Chosen's technique, which is like a midpoint seed, which we'll see more of later on. And also leaving Okinawa as well, which, like sometimes, because if Okinawa, I can never pronounce it, like the Japanese island, we'll call it. Because in like the first half of the story, sometimes there can be like a temporary B plot, which almost has to be its own section, and then it comes around to become relevant again. And yeah, that's definitely the case here. Like, granted, there is tons of storylines going on, but I think the whole thing is still, once again, with the show's title, it is still overcoming Cobra Kai in some way. There's like some Miguel and Samantha who are still overcoming the trauma, no thanks to Cobra Kai, and their own ways, of course. And like I said, despite different plot lines, it's it just manages to stick together in some way. I think that's when people say about how the show is still flawed despite what it attempts well, and I think at this I think this season and the following ones do kind of split off at a point where it almost turns into EastEnders, where despite mixing plot lines every now and again, it the characters like have their own thing, and unlike EastEnders, however, Cobra Kai still at least goes back into like the central part, which is Cobra Kai's dojo and the influence and the impact it's doing on everyone. But yeah, it is just quite a risky move to have these characters to have these plot lines, because why me and others would say the first season is the strongest is because of how like neat and tidy and self-contained it is, and you have there's just more emphasis on which characters have their stronger plot lines. And in season one, it was just the two senseis and the two dojos, and the two students, sorry, how they're parallel with one another. So yeah, it's almost like it's weird to call it a protagonist antagonist story, but that's the thing, they're both just as grey. And then because I think just like imagine if we did have like a version of Cobra Kai that that kind of maintains just picking a select few characters and have more singular storylines, but in that way, like season 3 for instance, it will probably just be reduced to I guess just more focus on Cobra Kai's influence, and it will be sticking to Johnny Miguel, and Daniel will be mixed in as well, and I guess the likes of Sam and Robbie would have less screen time as well. Yeah, just thinking about a neater version of season 3, could say it's kind of hard to picture, because I think season 3 still balances everything okay. Well, especially as because the season 2 tried to focus on way more people, and granted, season 4 and 5 have snippets of trying to shine the spotlight on everyone, but I think season 3 seems to keep quite a cap on it. Actually, I feel like I can keep track of everyone and of which person has more focus than whoever, because even who Daniel sees is only relegated to the B plot, and as much as I would like to see more of those characters again, it's it just works with how the story plays out. Anyway, we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, yeah, just another fantastic episode. I still really like Daniel and his trip, and because the last episode was catching up between Daniel and Kimiko, but now it's Daniel catching up with Chosen, and it's just extremely fascinating. It almost, I guess, it kind of gives you Empire Strikes Back vibes, where you have like a type of mentor who puts on an act, but once a certain point is reached, that's where the mentor's like, "Gotcha." I think that's the only other example I can think of. But at least there's enough differences in this episode, because in this case, Chosen's he's when we see him at first, he's just extremely stern. He looks like he hasn't moved on much. Probably with no marriage, and even when I rewatch this episode right now, he doesn't like to drink as well, so he's not very outgoing. And parts of it could be true, but in the end, we just see Chosen's actually quite light on his feet, presumably thanks to Miyagi's help. And it just looks like the end of the second film was his low point, and it looks like he's got himself back up. And I would need to but I have been missing a lot of lines, so because I remember Miyagi helping Chosen to get back on his feet again. I guess that's enough. I guess we do learn more about Chosen later on in the show, and sadly we don't see him until the very end of season 4. So I just really like how they catch up, how they compare fighting styles nowadays, learning more about Miyagi-Do's fight style as well, which is extremely cool. Although what I would say is that there are instances where, after the devastating, scene of Dimitri's arm being broken, and then it cuts to Daniel and Chosen, I find that a bit of a, like, not a tonal clash, but just going from a sense of devastation to them being like, oh, look, it's them two, at the end of catching up. I feel like, a bit of a mixed emotion there. At least it's not majorly jarring. It's not like it's gone from extremely to depressing to extremely comedic, but I've noticed, because I think it does happen a couple of times, throughout this series. That's just one instance I notice, and nothing major though. I suppose it's just wondering what to do with all of these scenes now they connect, and editing's a whole other topic. Because as far as I know, it's just balancing between everyone's storylines, and if anything, it's the likes of Daniel and Johnny having the most screen time, which should just going back to season 3 being a tad more on point compared to season 2. And also Miyagi's ancestor and his backstory. That's a really interesting piece of history there. And it's the first time we've seen Tori in ages. Last time we saw her it was when Chris managed to get her back in the dojo. It looks like she's back to her threatening demeanour again, which of course puts them off. Because it's been a while since they've last met. So to see her in fear like that, definitely another seed for the midpoint. And Dimitri and Chris and etc. being harmed. Definitely gonna put a lot of baggage on her. And we'll see how that plays out. And what does one say? I will say that Amanda facing Kreese, definitely one of my favourite Amanda scenes. So when people say that Amanda was improved in season 3, like, she's cooler, but I've always liked her, even if she did seem just like a simple opposite to Daniel in the last season or two. She has it had more agency, which is really nice. And we also see Daniel's son again after a while. Yeah, because I think what's also cool is that I think a lot of people didn't really like Daniel's son at first because of all those comments that keeps making against Sam and that. But in this season, however, it carries on the comments, and it's Amanda telling him to to be quiet. Which is, I guess, almost matching with how the viewers feel, which I suppose it's another example of the showrunners acknowledging what the viewers think of the certain characters, I suppose. And yeah, seeing Miguel in recovery, all this time Johnny tries to find all sorts of methods, and is rewarded with a notification on Facebook, which we'll see how that plays out. Oh, okay. Just suddenly come across. Johnny just asked Carmen about borrowing Miguel, and okay, and Carmen allows him. That's. I think just thanks to the nice chat they've had. I think despite partially being Johnny's fault with the position Miguel was at the time, it's just earning a bit of trust, and now more of it's earned thanks to Miguel being at the best step in recovery. In the season so far. So yeah, just a lot of highlights for all sorts of characters, and I think it's also interesting that because even in the finale season 3, Cobra Kai is almost winning because not only of their numbers but because of the training being more often, and Miyagi-Do just trying to catch up. So yeah, that does create quite a stake there. So yeah, I think that's all I can say about it. Yeah, just another favourite one, and it's a bit more action heavy as well at times. So quite suitable considering the main point. I think that's all I can say for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, see you in the next episode.